going on, guys? It is Aiden Hutchinson.
What's up, man? It's your boy Amon-Ra St. Brown.
What's up, everybody? It's Calvin Johnson Jr. here, a.k.a. Megatron, a.k.a. First Ballot.
What's going on, Coach Dan at Lions Talk Live and the Do Crew? This is Ballhawk Fatima of the Detroit Lions. Everybody make sure you help support the YouTube channel Lions Talk Live by clicking that like and subscribe button. Let's get it and go Detroit.
Greetings and salutations to everyone out there in YouTube land. This is Dan Skipper, offensive weapon for the Detroit Lions. Make sure you all help support Lions Talk Live, Coach Dan, by clicking on that like and subscribe button. Everybody, woo!
Well, greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I am your host once again, Dan Thornton, and I want to thank you all for tuning on in this Saturday morning show edition of Lions Talk Live. We're going to get things going, and I think we got a bit of a topic. A lot of us are going to be talking about probably all off season and into next season. Yes, as you guys probably could tell from the thumbnail for this particular video, Ben Johnson, the former offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions, you know what? I guess it's the right way to put it would be he's not afraid to express himself in regards to his former team. And it seemed his former team, some of the players and coaches are starting to take real note of this and are starting to have some real comments about that. We'll dive into that a little bit more during the main topic of the day. We'll get into the 5 headlines now, all that kind of stuff. But real quick, before we do, if you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. We're trying to make that march for 13,300 subs, and we're about 79, I think it is, subs away from that. So if you can help out that surely would be most welcome and great of you. Also, if you have a half second of time, it doesn't cost a dang dime. Reach on down while you're watching this video. Hit the thumbs up button, hit the like button, hit all the buttons. Hit the button for the button for the button. We try to get every episode of the show between 200, 300, 400 or more thumbs up or likes as we're trying to help the channel grow. Last but never least, if you are considering buying or selling property anywhere in the great state of Michigan, let alone the continental United States, give me a call or shoot me a text. We can have a conversation about what I can do to help work for you and make that process a whole lot easier. You now see my number on your screen, 269-998-2384. I've worked as a realtor for over 30 years, so if you need somebody who's going to look out for your best interest, save you some time, save some hassle, save you some money, go ahead and let me know. We'll have that conversation and, hey, put you in a good situation. It can be commercial property, new house, vacant land, whatever it is, let me know. We'll find out what works best for you. All right, with all that done, said, out of the way, let's get the show a rocking and a rolling and a going, and we'll start it all off by getting over to 5 headlines now. All right, 5 glorious headlines coming your way as we dive on into them today. Two-time All-SEC NFL draft prospect interested in reunion with college teammates on Detroit Lions by John Vicario. Most of you are probably aware the NFL scouting combine is underway. It's getting going. And yes, there are a bunch of different people in play for the Detroit Lions. Are we actually going to know what Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell want to do with these draft picks? Probably not. There's no way they're going to let that information really get out there. We all can Scooby-Doo it, come up with some good stuff here and there. But what we do know is this two-time All-SEC NFL person or draft prospect, whatever you want to say, does want to be with the Lions, has come out and said that. We talked about, hey, we get the Lions have a pretty stacked safety position. We all understand that Kirby Joseph was a first-team All-Pro in 2024 after leading the NFL in interceptions, while Brian Branch earned a Pro Bowl nod. Could it be the Lions are considering adding this person to the list? So, and I may be mispronouncing his name, which anybody who's watched this channel knows I do that on a fairly regular basis. But at the NFL Combine, Lions did apparently spend a lot of time watching at Alabama safety, Micaiah Moore. Boy, again, I'm probably mispronouncing that. So sorry about that, but hopefully you understand who I'm talking about. He did go on and say, hey, Moore in a quote did say, it would be great to play with my guys, Terrian and BB, on the defensive side of the ball. We already had a great team chemistry. We come from the same lineage in college football playing under Coach Saban. Moore said via MLive's Corey Woods, quote, so all of us are like-minded, and we're still brothers to this day. Like I said, our relationship is great. You know, if you Scooby-Doo it and kind of go through it, could Moore step in and come into, say, the slot cornerback role? I think that's possible. Could he come in and play the Iffy Melifano role? So the star player moving between, safety, cornerback, even a weak side linebacker in certain situations. I think it's easy to say, yes, he could do that. Now, Moore played in multiple roles for the Crimson Tide over his 5 seasons, including a lot of playing time in the slot. So as we just talked about, this is something he's familiar with doing. Arnold's done it before. If you guys remember, Brian Branch did this in college as well. So they're all very similar in that particular scenario. Lions, if they stick to what Aaron Glenn did a lot of as the defensive coordinator, they like to move guys around into that star role on the defensive side of the ball. Could Moore fill into that? I think so. He's flexible. He's got some size. He's got some wheels. I think there's a lot of things to like about potentially Adam. Now, in my opinion, the Lions are going to focus more on the defensive line, but that doesn't mean they couldn't throw us all a curveball. Not many people saw 2 years ago Lions trading out of that number 6 pick in the NFL draft to go and get a running back and then a tight end. So could this be the next in that kind of line of thinking? Thinking outside the box, adding some more speed and athleticism to other aspects of the D versus just the defense line? It could be, but it does seem clear Moore would not have a problem coming over to the Detroit Lions. So would you have, I guess that's my question to you, Duke Crew. Lions wanted to go after Moore in the first round. What say you? Why for yes and for no? All right, combined standouts who could drastically improve the Lions defense, story by John Macarone. So we're going to dive into this one, and we'll be spending, I think, more and more time the closer we get to the draft talking about some of these breakdowns. But there are a couple of guys that John Macarone has pointed out that he thinks would be players of interest for the Detroit Lions, especially on the defensive line in that first round. So let's kind of Scooby-Doo it and walk through it. And a couple of them you guys have probably already heard of before. Christian Boer expressed that there's a couple guys that he really feels at the scouting combine would be ideal fits for Lions. One of them, we talked about him this week, James Pierce. Pierce, flexible, athletic, big body boy, could come after somebody at the defensive line. To me, I think he'd probably end up backing up Hutchinson, maybe Zadarius Smith, but either way, he could play both sides while Alaquin Muhammad could also step on. Boer also pointed out a couple other people of note. Shamir Stewart, somebody we've talked about on the show in the last couple weeks of where you're starting to get ready for the draft. Stewart's talking about a big body. This guy's it. He could be basically a defensive tackle that plays out at the edge. We get it. He's 6'5", 280, 290 pounds, real wide body, gets into space and eats up space. Talk about not wanting to be able to run on the Detroit Lions. He would help with that. Could Stewart get to the quarterback as much as Pierce? I guess that's the great debate who you take then. The other person he really liked, the Christian Boer, the author of this particular story, is at 6'6", 264 pounds. And yes, he is a bit of a warrior. That is Landon Jackson out of Arkansas. Somebody who caught his eye early and often and then repeatedly. Not gonna lie, 6'6" and 260, 270-ish pounds. That's the kind of guy that the Lions do seem to gravitate towards. You look at Hutchinson, you look at Zadarius Smith, you look at other guys, that does seem to be a prototypical build that they like. But Boer goes on to say, he's just he's just physical, he's just huge. And he lumbers through the positional drills. I mean, you're talking about a guy with heavy hands getting off the pads and off the blocks. To me, I think he is somebody where I can, if needed, to spend a second-round pick and go get him. If you're the Lions, that's the guy I think you'd love to see in a Lions uniform. I don't know as much about Landon Jackson as perhaps some of the other guys because I've probably mostly focused on about 4 or 5 prospects at the 28th pick. Now, as we get close to the draft, that will change. I'll have more and more information for you guys on multiple different picks. But what I do know about Landon Jackson, you watch his tape in college, he does stand out. He is, again, not to keep beating the same dead horse, but he is somebody that fits a lot of the prototypical defensive end spot type players that the Lions seem to gravitate towards. What say you, though, Duke Crew? If you had to spend a second-round pick, or could spend a second-round pick, I should say, on Landon Jackson, would you do it? Why for yes and for no? Let me know in the comments section. All right, going on to the next of the 5 headlines now. Lions tried to hire, quote, genius Rashard Choice 2 years ago by DT AP Wire. And I think most of us get it. This guy's got a lot of ties to the Lions. There's a reason why the Lions wanted to go out and get him. They did try to get him 2 years ago. Quote, here's something from Dan Campbell. He's, quote, he's somebody that's done a really good job developing backs everywhere he's been. 2 years ago, I know that he was somebody that was on my radar, and it just for whatever reason didn't work out. It was all good, but there again, this is kind of me. Everybody wants to get him. I want to get him. Everything comes back around, and this time it just felt like this was the right place at the right time. So Campbell, I'm not going to beat you up with all the comments. Goes on and talks about the type of relationship Choice has with Gibbs. Most of you guys know he coached him in college. Said that when he talked to the guy and you have him talk more and more just beyond the positional coaching aspects, you can see how really integral his knowledge is about offense at multiple different layers. The Lions are going to take advantage of it. Dan Campbell says he doesn't really believe in guys, hey, you just focus on this thing. We hired you to do that. He does want his input on multiple different aspects, and he did say you could already see John Morton and him have a bit of a relationship that's budding and growing, that they're helping each other out, and that should ultimately help the team out exponentially. Choice was drafted by the Dallas Cowboys back in 2008, was able to play 6 seasons prior to starting his coaching career. The now 40-year-old coach interned with the Dallas Cowboys before joining North Texas in 2017 as the quality control coach. He was promoted to running backs coach in 2018, and his career has obviously elevated from there. So kudos to him. Dan Campbell likes him, and you know what? If Dan Campbell likes him, that's probably a good step forward. All right, 4 potential free agent pivots if the Lions and Kevin Zeitler leaves. Sideline report by Brad Berryman. Let's dive into this one because, to be fair, I am of the mindset that Kevin Zeitler and the Lions will ultimately work out a deal, get him a return. Reports have come out from the Lions themselves that they have talked to Zeitler during the season trying to make it happen. It sounds like he was kind of on the fence about returning, but according to him, he is considering it. He's talking with his family, his wife, etc., seeing ultimately what they want to do. If you don't remember, Zeitler signed a 1-year deal for $6 million. I was actually surprised the Baltimore Ravens let him go. Is what it is, though, and that was good for the Lions because I do believe he was one of the best offensive guards in the league this year. In fact, Pro Football Focus had him as the second best run blocking guard in the entire league. He had some early hiccups in pass blocking after as he acclimated to his new linemen and their schemes, but then got better quickly throughout the season. He is 35, but if they are going to move on from him, let's go into a few of the people they may try to replace him with. Dalton Risner is one of them. He is coming from, Risner has started at both guard spots for the Minnesota Vikings over the past 2 seasons. So you know what? If you get him, you probably have a lot of tape on him since you have played against him multiple different times season. Could he be a good complement on the Lions opposite who is expected to be the other offensive guard, and that's Christian Mahogany? I think that's not a bad fit there. We talked about this next one. Will Hernandez earlier in the week. He is with the Arizona Cardinals. You did hear Brad Holmes in pressers talk about the Lions have already kind of looked at some Arizona Cardinal offensive players to come over here. I thought it was weird that he did kind of specifically mention which teams. Wasn't committal on the players. I get you can't do that. But Hernandez, he's not a bad fit. I don't think he's like a top 10 guard in this league, but I do think he's a pretty dang good one. Could you ride with him for a year or two while developing somebody else? That could be. Mekhi Becton is another one. There are multiple reports that suggest Becton's preference is to re-sign with the Eagles, but he has acknowledged that if need be, he will go elsewhere. I personally think he's going to probably stay with Philadelphia, but at the end of the day, Philly does have a lot of free agents they're going to have to resign. Chances are you're not going to be able to sign them all. Brandon Sheriff, Sheriff is not playing at the level he did early in his career in Washington when he earned 5 Pro Bowls, but he started every game the last 3 seasons for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I would have to probably, to be fair, I would just say I don't have an opinion here because I haven't really watched enough of him to say, hey, is it the blocking schemes that have taken his level of play down? Is it Father Time that has done it? Why has he dropped off from the Washington Commander days? My anticipation is probably a lot of it is scheme when you notice somebody drops off that much. But then again, you never know. I mean, look at Jonah Jackson. He left Detroit where he played great. Obviously did not play great with the Rams, and the Rams are considering cutting him or getting rid of him in one way, shape, or form. Could he be another option to come on back? I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens. All right, last of the 5 headlines now. Lions met with 36 touchdown quarterback at NFL Combine at Lion Sports by John Vicario. John Vicario points out that the Lions, they did meet with a quarterback during their stay over at the scouting combine, and Jalen Milroe did talk to reporters about that. Did also talk about one of his best friends, Terrion Arnold, who, as you guys know, is a Lion. Could it be that the Lions move off Hendon Hooker, trade him? I don't know, man. Just say, hey, it's not working out here. Whatever the situation is, this is the second time I can recall this offseason that this guy's been mentioned as a potential person of interest for the Detroit Lions. I mean, if they feel like he's the guy, I guess I wouldn't be mad. Milroe did put together a productive career, for those who don't know, during his time at Alabama in 2 seasons. Starting as the starting quarterback, he threw for 5,600 yards and change, ran for another 1,200 yards. It was also has a respectable 71 total touchdowns to lead the Crimson Tide college football playoffs in 2023. I would say if you're going to move off Hendon Hooker, you probably do want to bring in somebody, unless you're just going to say, hey, we're only going to focus on a veteran quarterback. But if you're going to go with a rookie guy, he might not be a bad fit. He does have some upside. I do like his, I guess all the Lions fans are going to say this. I do like the fact he can escape the pocket. His arm strength is not bad by any stretch of the imagination. I don't think it's elite, but to be fair, I don't want to talk too much about him because I've watched him some. I haven't watched him enough where I could feel like I could have a real sound, informative opinion. Some of you guys have probably watched him more than I have, so I would defer to your wisdom regarding him. We'll see what the Lions do, though. Could it be that they're moving off Hendon Hooker? I know there have been some reports that have come out this offseason saying that the Lions were going to go for a trade with the Jets and move Hendon Hooker there. Of course, he's also been mentioned in trades with the Cleveland Browns. So what's really going to happen? I guess we'll have to wait and see what Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell elect to do. All right, with all that done, set out of the way, I know most of you guys are chomping at the bit for this main top of the day, so let's go over to it and get into it right now. Sometimes I do get a little tongue-tied, twisted in the morning, especially when I haven't had a Mountain Dew. All right, main topic of the day. Ben Johnson through the game. That could be something that apparently is growing steam across the NFL committee or landscape, whatever you want to say, to the fact that it does appear the NFLPA, at least to some degree, has looked into apparently 5 different games, and not all Ben Johnson, 5 different games that kind of, drew some red flags from the NFLPA and other agencies in regards to the NFL. Ben Johnson's game against the Washington Commanders, yes, in case you didn't know, is one of those 5 games. Now, I don't know enough about the gambling side of things to know how it all works. I do know sports fixing has been around as long as any of us have been alive. If you guys remember 1920s Black Sox or whatever it was, the baseball thing that went to Congress, and it does appear that the NFL, because they are in bed with gambling agencies, has to pay attention to this kind of stuff. Yes, one of the 5 games, and I don't know the other 4 games because you know what, they didn't involve the Detroit Lions, so I didn't pay much attention to them. But it does appear that this game is being looked into. And adding fuel to that fire, we all know about a week or so ago, Ben Johnson took some stabs, some shots, however you want to term it, made some comments about the Detroit Lions, about the Detroit Lions defense, and about Jared Goff. That stuff apparently didn't sit well with Goff, the Lions representation, nor the defensive players. But Ben Johnson, and man, this guy, does somebody need to hire him a PR department? He should not be put in front of a mic unless he's just talking X and O's or player acquisition or something like that. Because it really makes no sense to me why he is talking so much about his former team. I mean, it's almost like a jilted lover who just can't get over their ex. And that's why, in my opinion, and it doesn't have to be your opinion, it's just my opinion, some of this stuff, there must be more to the story about the departing of ways from Johnson, Detroit than any of us really know, because he brings up the Detroit Lions so much. It's almost like he's fixated on it. So let's dive into it. Those don't know. Johnson came out, made some comments yesterday about the Lions defense. Again, these comments did not bode well for some of the Lions players, and for good reason. Defenders Kirby Joseph, Meek Robertson had a few things to say about Ben Johnson's comments. Joseph took to X to share a picture of Peter Griffin reacting to Johnson's remarks. And yes, I'm reading all this off a story, by the way. Robinson also responded on X, posting a quote and writing the caption, "Yeah, feel me," in regards to Ben Johnson and his newest comments. So while Johnson has a shiny new quarterback that he seems all Google-eyed over, his comments are likely giving the Lions more motivation to shut Chicago down next season and contain Williams. Let's go. And I'm not going to go through the entire story. I think if you guys get the gist, we can just summarize and say this. We've been talking about on this channel, and I'm sure you guys have watched 40 other channels. You probably read 30 billion different articles that if you watch, or if you especially rewatch at this point, the Washington Commanders game, most Lions fans, and it now seems the players are coming out and talking about this, at least to some degree, felt like Ben Johnson was at the least highly distracted during that game. And it does appear now the NFLPA feels to some degree he may have cooked the books in that game a little bit. And again, I don't know the gambling side of stuff enough, so I defer to your wisdom on it. But if you do go back and watch, here's what I can say about that game. And I know we were talking about it a few episodes ago. If you go back and you take your eyes off the field, don't pay attention to the damn ball. Pay attention to Dan Campbell on the sideline. There's about 5 to 8 different times during that game when the call comes in over the headsets, what they're going to run on offense. You just see, Dan Campbell start grabbing his head, doing one of these numbers, going down on his knees and looking down at the turf, clearly displeased with what's being called. And if you guys remember, a bunch of us were talking about it the day after the game, or maybe even the day of the game, on that, 3rd and 1 call when we go empty backfield. And I get it. Okay, St. Brown slips and falls, but if you watch as that plays being called, that is one of the times Dan Campbell is clearly less than happy, and that's probably the best way to put it about the play call. And then obviously it's a turnover, whatever. There's a number of other times out there. We've all been talking about it for however long it's been, a month and a half now or so. That it seems like we find out Ben Johnson's hired like the day after the Lions losing the playoffs, or maybe it was 2 days after. But it does seem like Ben Johnson, for whatever reason, didn't put in, and this is tough for me to say as a coach, especially if you would have been working with this guy. It's tough for me to say somebody didn't put in their best effort, left food on the table, whatever analogy you want to use. But at this point, it does seem like Ben Johnson may have had a reason to want to lose the game against the Washington Commanders. And basically, in my opinion, if all this holds water, he probably didn't really prepare for the Washington Commanders because he knew he was going to be the Chicago Bears coach. That's Exhibit A, as I would present in a legal case, I guess, if I was a lawyer. That, his play calling's off. The players mentioned it. The coaches kind of mentioned it. And then we find out he was focused on hiring other players or coaches for his new staff. Now you get the fact that he's consistently taking shots at the players, at the defense, at Goff. I think there's some sort of animosity with Ben Johnson where he may have felt that he's not getting enough credit for what the seasons Goff put up, the seasons the Lions offense put up, the success of, Jahmyr Gibbs or Amon-Ra St. Brown or something like that. He really does seem like he is mentally fixated on this team, and I really think this is going bad for him and the Chicago Bears, let alone the Detroit Lions. What once seemed like a real good friendship or kinship between both parties, it seems like it is, I know I mentioned this earlier, it feels like it's almost like an ex who can't get over their former lover, moving on from them. John Morton, I think there's more to his hire than most of us realize, and I'm sure you guys probably get that opinion too. Dan Campbell brought him in pretty quick, did not stick around with Tanner Ekstrand or whatever, let him get out of there. And I'm guessing there's a reason for that too. This thing is setting up to be a real off-season soap opera that I don't think any of us are even scratching the surface on yet. it would be my guess. Doesn't have to be your guess, New Crew, but probably in the next few months, we're going to find out a lot more information about this story. Whether or not the NFLPA publicly ever comes out and says something about, hey, we looked into these games. Yes, this Commanders game against the Lions is a game of interest. Whether or not they actually release those findings, if I'm the NFL, I probably don't. Because, again, since they do so much with gambling now in the NFL, do you want people to believe this is WWE? Do you want people to believe games get fixed? I'm guessing not. Otherwise, you kill your bedship or friendship or whatever you want to call it with different organizations. But at some point, we're probably going to get some results known about it. I just think the NFL is going to try to keep it as quiet as possible. Ben Johnson, the only thing I can say to you, Duke Crew, when we play them, beat them down early and often and get over it. But this thing, if they happen to win a game, this thing was probably going to explode the hatred between Ben Johnson, Chicago, and the Lions. But, hey, I will also say this. It'll make for some great TV and ratings. All right, Duke Crew, I've rambled way too much on this one. Well, I want to see what you guys have to say about this, because if he brings up the Lions, Goff, the defense yet again in another week or two, what does that say to you guys? I mean, I'm just the dude on the mic talking. You guys have all been through life. You know how things work. You know how people get into their feelings. It just seems like Ben Johnson is fixated on bringing up his former team on a regular basis, and that just seems odd to me. All right, guys, let me scroll to the top of the screen. Give me a moment, if you please. Still scrolling. JDC, morning all. Back at you. Good morning, JDC. Detroit D, greetings, salutations to the Duke Crew, and good to see you, my friend. Hopefully you're having a great start to your day. Morning, JDC. JDC, Skunk Puff Johnson. All right, we'll go with that. Detroit D, Skip Ben Johnson. Yes, right now I think we're all about saying that. Clark, Ben is the ex that won't leave you alone, just keeps talking. It seems crazy to me to be able to say that, because if you would have went into that final month of the regular season, I'd said, Ben, we all probably got he was going to leave for a job somewhere. Probably not many of us had Chicago Bears on the bingo card or whatever, but it just seems like he can't stop talking about Detroit, and I'm not sure why, other than there's some sort of something had to have happened that really emotionally impacted Ben Johnson when it came to Goff, the Lions, etc., and it's just odd. JDC, morning all, same to you. JDC Johnson, open mouth, change foot, probably true. Big Eddie, greetings, salutations. I've said it since that game went down. Something was very off with the offense. And yes, I do believe Ben Johnson was up to something. It does seem to be the prevailing wisdom. And again, why, I don't know. But, the pass with Jamison Williams, the 3rd and 1, there were some other pass patterns he calls, or went empty backfield and stuff, just odd times. It just seemed like he was either highly distracted, which I think we would all agree at this point he probably was. He probably knew he was going to be the Bears coach at that point, or just really just didn't care about the game. And as a coach, I really want to say no coach does that, but I also know I'm probably wrong. JDC, Big Eddie, yep, the nuttier than squirrel stuff. I'll go with that. Henry Moore, good morning, Coach Dan and the Duke Crew! Exclamation point. What a team. What a podcast. What a time to be a Lions fans. Woo! And back at you. Go Lions. Trey, what's good, everybody? Question mark. After rewatching the Commanders game, I had the idea Johnson worked over the team when he went to Chicago. I said to myself, yep, that boy wanted to do us 30. Hate to say it, man, but there could be some evidence of that. Again, I don't want to believe it. That drives me nuts. Lauren, good morning, Coach Dan and the world famous Duke Crew. Good to see you, my friend. Hopefully off to a good start to your day. Tori, good morning, Duke Crew. It's never boring when Ben is talking. He does keep the offseason going, doesn't he? All right, Michael, what do you got? Good morning, Coach Dan and the Duke Crew. Don't forget to smash that like button. What a beautiful morning. Hey, thanks for that. Yeah, if you guys can, hit the like, hit the subscribe button, hit all the buttons. And yes, thank you very much for that, Michael. JDC, Bobby Lane and his curse. Sam Pop, some guy named Murray took over now. All right, I'll go with that. Man Bear, y'all have a safe and fantastic weekend. Same to you, my friend. Make it a great weekend. Jess, Lauren Van Edge, it's crazy to think, but yeah, you can find members of the Duke Crew around the world. It's fairly true. I know we've had some fans, was it in the Philippines, China, want to say there's some over in Europe. So yeah, but I mean, that's the internet, right? You can watch things anywhere in the world. Brent Bear Johnson is going to learn the hard way about burning bridges in the NFL. Oh yeah. Here's a question for you guys. If all this holds water and we go a year or so from now and let's just say Ben Johnson gets terminated from the Bears in 2 years or whatever it may be. Does MCDC bring him back as offensive coordinator if there was an opening? I'm not so sure right now. Jason, I see JDC, and a great morning to watch Lions Talk Live. Hey, thank you very much for that. It's always a great day with the Do Crew. France, good day all. Getting ready to head to bed while on vacation in Vegas. Hope you're all having a blast. Same to you, my friend. Sounds like you're off to a good start to your vacation. JDC, Jason Barry, yep, it is. Exclamation point, and good morning to you. Back at you both. Steve, greetings and salutations. No matter what type of shots that this buffoon takes at our team, Coach Campbell will take the high road. Probably true. Yeah, probably very true. Time morning, JDC. One Pride, Lions Nation. Gotta love the nation. 70, good morning, boys. Exclamation point. Shake my head. I'm starting to think Ben Johnson became a diva and is just overly full of himself. I don't know if you guys ever seen the show Ted Lasso, but now you got me thinking about it, Steph. There's I don't remember his character's name. There's a little guy on the show. He was a coach. He started off as like the locker room attendant or something like that for the team. Then he became like one of the coaches on the sidelines, makes a big call in a game, helps them win the match or whatever. And then the next couple episodes, you can just see how he's always reading his own press. His ego's got inflated. He's full of himself. It's kind of got to be brought back down to earth. To your point, he does kind of feel like, and I don't know the character's name offhand. I probably should have watched it enough with Jen, but he does feel like he's going through some of that where he's been reading his own press and just maybe that's the byproduct of what's happening. Thomas, Ben becoming a real female talk, if you know what I mean. I do know what you mean. And yes, I concur with your assessment of the situation. JDC, go Lions, back at you. Lions fanatic bird time. Lauren, is it true the UFL quarterbacks are holding out? Ooh, that I don't know. Let's see what Lauren's got on that breaking news. Good morning, Lauren. By the way, sorry, it happens. Susan, good morning. Can we get the Bears on the schedule early in the season? Question mark. Can't wait for us to beat them down. If this stuff keeps up all off season, the NFL is a business. They are going to want to make a ratings push for something. Whether or not they take advantage of that early in the season, middle of the season, or end of the season, they will hype up this game big time. Thomas, Stephanie, no wonder he wanted to coach Caleb so bad, laughing out loud. Two divas who can paint their nails together. And, that's a great analysis of the situation there, Brian. Good call. Burger time, I agree, Susan. Henry Moore, I think he had an agreement with the Bears or organization before the Washington game. I would agree with that, Henry. I think he was, informally hired as the head coach. We now know he was reaching out that week leading into the Washington Commanders game to people about being assistant coaches. Hey, can I hire you for this? And I've said it before, even leading the week after the Washington game, when that news all came out, there's just no way as a coach, there's not enough hours in the day to be a coach, a husband, to watch all the film, to properly, coach and condition the team to what you were going to see with the Commanders. If you do watch the game, and again, you guys are free to have your own opinion. I'm just telling you my thoughts. He does seem to coach outside of his norm. When it originally happened, I just said, man, okay, he went through the interviews. He's a little distracted. I felt bad for him because any coach in that situation, you want to become a head coach. You're going through stuff. But the more this information does come out, the more he talks, it makes it hard to ignore that it maybe at a subconscious level, and I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, maybe at a subconscious level, he wasn't doing his best with the Lions. It's as polite as a way I can put it. JDC, Bears, Munsters in the midway. I'll go with that. Hookadoo. Good morning, Duke Crew. I hope Benedict Johnson goes 0-17, falling flat on his face and gets fired. We'll see what happens. Berg time. Henry, rumors were like he knew in November. Yeah, I think you're right, Bergs. I think he knew, probably a while before that he was going to get hired. Whether or not it was in November, I don't know. Steve, although Ben Johnson is good at calling plays in the regular season, yeah, but not so much, at least against Washington in the postseason. Five fingers ready. Good morning, Duke Crew. Kudos the Duke Crew and Coach Dan for putting on a Lions show 7 days a week. True fans, hey, I enjoy it. I hope you guys enjoy it. And at the end of the day, that's all I'm really worried about is hopefully we all like doing this together. Bird time. Good morning, Brother Hookadoo. Let's go, Lions. 100% more. I think every time he speaks, it's to throw smoke upon what he has done. Yeah, could be. Yeah, that's a good assessment. Jason, I would have swore I saw Ben Johnson getting groceries the other day at Trader Joe's. There you go. Could have been. Hookadoo, the man, the myth, Bird time. Good morning. Oh, yeah, I'll go with that. Virgil Rose, Lions fanatic, bird time. I think he did. JDC, Ben Dover Johnson, and grab your ankles. I see what you did there. Then the Lions come with Newtown. All right, I'm down with that, JDC. Bird time, and 100% agree, Hookadoo. Also hope he's fired in 2 years. Let's keep him running his mouth. He will answer on the field. Yeah, it just seems like a real strange way for this relationship between him and his former team to keep evolving. Henry Moore, even other coach, when you leave a team, every other coach, when you leave the team, you're bigger and better. They always give kudos to their previous team for that opportunity. Yeah, it's just the fact that he keeps talking about Goff and the defense. I mean, come on, man. That defense was shredded by injuries. And if half those injuries don't happen, we all probably see the Lions beat Washington. Who knows if they would have made the Super Bowl? I like to say yes, but I'm also a Lions fan, so of course I'm going to say yes. Robert, greetings, and back at you. France, woo! Enjoy that vacation. Robert, Dan, I thought you were going to start at 8. This is fantastic. Yeah, I know I've talked to some of you guys about on the weekends pushing it back like 7:15, 7:30. It's just tough because, I'm so used to getting up at a certain time that, hey, and once the show's done, I want to get on with my day. JDC, Dre Force rocks, and he rolls. So Smoke, good morning, everyone. Back at you. Burger time. Hope all is well, brother Hookadoo. We should all do a meetup tailgate next season for real this time. I've been trying for 3 years. Only one I met up with was Matt G. God rest his soul. Yeah, sorry to, thoughts and prayers for Matt and his family. Yeah, it's unfortunate. Voltron, wish you and your team good luck next week, Coach. Thank you. That's what I'll be doing basically all today and tomorrow is getting as much film broken down on the possible teams we can face. Then, hey, trying to get the team ready as best I can. I'm not going to pull up Ben Johnson. See what I did there? Pat, any updates on the scouting combine? Reading, we've talked to a lot of D linemen. You're right with that. There are a lot of multiple different reports about us meeting with this D lineman, that D lineman, etc. So I think it does suggest we could go that way. But, let's also be fair. It could be misdirection by Brad Holmes and MCDC. Lauren, break time. If I get tickets to a game next season, I'm down to meet up. I'm okay with that. Hookadoo, sounds like a plan, break time. Lauren, Jesse and I will have a couple of tailgates for Panther games. Okay, go enjoy it, man. The great idea. Bird time, awesome. I would really like that since I come to Detroit by myself. Be cool to meet up. Yeah, go enjoy it. Have a big meetup. Jerome Silver Server told me to leave Benny alone. Sounds like Benny can't keep his fingers about to himself. All right, I'm down with that. Bird time. Or is it true the quarterbacks are holding out? We'll have to find out. Dave, I'm starting to really hate Ben Johnson. That does seem to be the prevailing wisdom. Lauren, that post was misleading. They did hold for mini camp this week. They are a full go for regular camp this week. Okay. Bird time. Me too, David. Me too. Bo, good morning, Duke Crew. Ben Johnson is not exactly a straight shooter. Woo! That could be well said there. Lauren, regular camp starts Monday, 3-3. Okay. Jim, what is happening with Hutch? Sounds like he's healing up and doing pretty well. I haven't heard anything to the contrary with that, Jim. So it sounds like by probably OTAs or training camp, he's going to be just fine. Henry, there is 2 things I can't stand. One is foul-smelling women and a fork-tongued man, i.e. Ben Johnson. Yes, he does seem to be, not enduring himself to Lions fans anymore. Bird time. I'm okay with giving it another go. I trust your judgment. All right. JDC, Johnson, Johnson is a no good blankety blank, and that's his only good point. That might be true. Phil, good morning. Back at you, Phil. Nice new thumbnail. JDC, Coach, how's Sarge doing? He's doing okay, man. He's got a new job that he seems to be enjoying. So it takes him out of morning rotations because he's now working. Let's see. Michael, good morning. Back at you. Johnny L, good morning to the crew. Same to you, Johnny. Wayne, we love you, Skipper. Yes, gotta love that Skipper. Woo! Phil, I'd like to short stand. Some reading lessons might be a good idea. Hey, I do try to get them all in. See, Michael, if Ben Johnson threw the game, he should be banned from the league, a la Shoeless Joe. I do wonder what would happen if they could corroborate that. How you corroborate it, to me, that's the tough part. That's the tough part because is it a bad play call? Is it bad results? Did you misread the D? That opened up a lot of bad doorways, pathways, if that ever came down. Trump's, I guess it's woo all right, I'll go with that. Woo, how about that? JDC, new woo for the skipper. All right. Trump's, she likes when I hit the like button. Yeah, hit the like button if you would, please. Ezra Gay, good morning. Coach Dan and the Duke, can't wait to put those 2L on on Ben Johnson and the Chicago girls. I'm down with that. I'm down with that indeed. Vincent E, good morning, Coach Dan and the Duke crew. Woo! Wayne, good morning, Dan O. I'm back. Took 2 months to recover enough to start thinking Lions. Santa Clara bound. Woo! Oh, yeah. Well, welcome back, Wayne, and good to have you back, my friend. Phil, remember, Johnson lives to try to get in the heads of teams. Don't let him do it here. Yes, don't get in the heads, although he's trying to fire people up for whatever reasons. Kim, good morning, all. Ben Johnson made no effort to win the game, therefore contributed significantly to the loss. That could be a great way of putting it there, Kim. A great way of wording it. Scott, how in the NFL not investigating possible tampering with Ben Johnson and the Bears when there's evidence by coaches that joined the staff that he violated the rules about improper contact of coaches? That's a great point, Scott, and maybe that's part of what they were mentioning in the NFL Players Association release yesterday. So maybe that's an aspect of it. I don't know. I don't want to comment on it just because I'm not fully aware of that. Phil, I saw Johnson laughing when Goff got his head knocked off. He's a dirtbag. Yeah, it makes you wonder, did he set Goff up for that hit? Because I know we've talked about it before on the show. I can't remember who in the comment section brought it up, but they made a great point. In the time that Goff worked with Ben Johnson here in Detroit, did you ever see those two like bro hug? Hey, man, I threw the game-winning touchdown or the big drive or whatever and come over and just slap hands, chest bump, anything like that on the sideline. And when whoever it was in the comment section brought up, I was like, man, you're right. I don't ever remember seeing that between those two. So maybe there was some sort of level of disdain for each other. I don't know. Henry Moore, I feel the NFL treats like an unwanted stepchild and wants to always look down their nose at us. Yeah, probably true. Hey, what's this? What's this indeed? Thank you very much for that. Just for this, let's give you a, how about a 1, 2, and a 3? Kill shots. Thank you very much for that. I heard Hendon is going to be traded to the Titans. I wonder what they would give up for him. And then if I'm the Titans, if I could add, if that's true, I could probably add, what's the one receiver from Colorado who's also a cornerback? Or maybe I go Carter. Man, you got some options. And if you're going to invest in them, probably wouldn't cost a ton to acquire Hendon Hooker, but maybe that just says, hey, you really think you got a chance here for this kid to come into play. We'll see what happens. JDC, but again, thank you for that. Thank you very much for that. All right, JDC, go Lions, go Tigers. I'm down with all the above. Robert, I subscribed in September of 22. I'm about 870 shows, then 3,474 breaking news segments. Keep up with the good work, Dan. Hey, I enjoy doing it. Hopefully you enjoy being here. I'm guessing you have enjoyed it, Robert, since you've watched all those episodes. Brian, good morning, Dan and everyone. You think Skipper or Iffy will be here? If not, you're ready to make a new intro? Yeah, I'll probably, at some point, once free agency, the draft's over, inevitably every season, a third of the roster typically, switches, leaves, or whatever. So you probably are looking at a few new intros. Trumps, don't believe everything in the news about Ben Johnson. We all know news lies like a son of a. I'll go with that 100%. Cody, if we were to go from Moore to Bama, we'd have to move on from Iffy. And I wonder if they were to do that, if that is a sign, obviously they're not bringing back Iffy Melifano. We'll have to see. Johnny L., dang, I'm late again. It happens, my friend. It happens. Keith, good morning and greetings, salutations. Dan of the Duke Crew, back at you, my friend. JDC, Robert Yankee, that's a lot of Lions Talk Live. Yes, it is. John, morning to Dan and the Duke Crew. I've rewatched the Commanders game. Brent Johnson head was definitely not in the game. And Scott, I agree. NFL should be looking at Bears and Johnson for tampering. Yeah, now, who do you penalize for that? And what would be the penalty? I think you would penalize the owner for it, but what would the penalty be? I don't know. All right, let's see. Brent, I'm out on Shamir Stewart. Dude can't tackle, 27% missed tackle rate. All right, we'll take him off the board. Johnny L., it's pretty windy here today. Yeah, it was outside too. Thought Jen was trying to destroy my car when she let the wind almost rip the passenger door off. I gave her a stern look, and she told me what to do with that look. All right, break time. I want CP3 and Zettler to return. Both played well here. Yeah, I like them both. Hopefully they can keep them both. JDC tackling appears to have improved, but I think he needs more work. Maybe true. Anymore, they should prosecute him for breach of trust. Well, maybe they can. JDC living vicariously through John. Okay. Phil, that ring is very uncomfortable, Dan. I, too, have trouble with rings and watches. Watching your rings triggers it on me. Yeah. So for those who don't know, on my left hand, like a lot of times I have to do this with the sweatshirt. I can't have it on my wrist, or it just starts sending vibrations through my hand and arm. That's why I have to keep moving the ring around. Now, my right hand, I don't have that problem. So is what it is. Michael, Detroit Lions have a whole other team on the injury list. Yes, they do. Johnny, I say yes to Jackson. All right, we'll get action for Jackson. JDC getting real in the D. Go Lions, 100%. Courtney, Milroe has time to with some of our Bama guys. That is true. It has ties. Yes, indeed. Phil, I think Ben Johnson is broski. Now that could be that could be some breaking news. J-Mo Lion King. Hey, good morning, folks. I don't care about Ben anymore. My focus on the Lions. Great show, Dan. Hey, thank you for that. And, do what I can to try to keep you guys entertained. All right, Phil, tampering at the very least went in. Johnson knew in November he was going to the Bears' definition of tampering. Might be right, guys. What will the NFL do about it, if anything? JDC, Johnny L. I say yes to Jackson also. He's on the 20 bill. Yes, yes, he is. Johnson, BJ is a pile of, we'll go with that. Brian, if we took back Lions started struggling in November, especially offensively, exactly when Ben started talking to Chicago. He said, skip Detroit. Sorry about that. There does seem to be more and more evidence suggesting Ben Johnson knew he was departing, where he was going, and that he might be spending more and more time preparing for that assignment versus his then current assignment. Johnny L. JDC, I totally agree. Thumbs up. JDC, skunk the Bears, the Bearleys. All right. Phil, 100%. Brian, Dynamite, Ben Johnson played us. I hate saying it, man, because, again, it's tough for me as a coach. You want to say if you're on a team, I mean, you guys know, man, most of you guys, if not all of you, have played on teams before. You really, it's tough for me to comprehend the person next to you isn't going straight forward with you, that they're somehow, going in their own direction. And that's tough for me, man. But at the same time, you can't lie. The evidence, if you rewatch the game or other situations, or now that we know he was talking to people about hiring him, it's hard to deny all that evidence. Michael Goff is better than when Ben Johnson gave him for play calling in both the 49ers and Redskins game, throwing up all the interceptions in both losses. Yeah, probably true. JDC, at least it gives us something to chat about. Yeah, that's also an aspect. Johnny L., I can't wait to play Chicago. No, I'm going to say at this point, both of those games against them are going to be pretty heavily viewed and circled. Phil, how many times do you wonder what he was doing during the game? Obviously, bad play calls. There's play calls that obviously all coaches make bad play calls. Players mess up plays. Referees, miss things. It's just part of sports. But rewatching that game, and I haven't moved on to other games, but rewatching that one, I would say there are probably about 8 different play calls that I noticed that I'm like, yeah, something's up there. At least it seemed outside his norm. Anymore, hit that like button for Coach. Thank you for that. Let's see, JDC, Johnny L. It's going to be a rootin', tootin', rip, roaring affair when that happens. I would concur. Johnny L. Ben Johnson's going to fail. Probably true. Thomas, sick of what he did. Sick if he did all this. Not a leader. No, it is not. Not a leader at all. Easy E. I think he was distracted more than anything. But there's no way he gave up the chance to get a Super Bowl ring just because he was going to coach somewhere else. That's what I'm hoping. It was just distraction, not something intentional. J-Mo Lion King, but despite those calls, we didn't execute those plays, and he didn't turn the ball over. This is also true. Very true. The players did. They picked a bad day to have a bad day. You are right on with that. Courtney, I think I would be checking his brother-in-law's bet slips. Did Ben Johnson use a shell? Ooh, that's some thoughts there. I didn't even think about that. Phil, Sheila would have hired independent agency to investigate the whole situation. Should hire an independent. I wonder if she will. I'll leave that to the NFL. Berg time. I never liked him and caught a lot of crap for saying this on other channels. He always gave me the shady vibes. I hope we pound them each time we play them. He's obviously trying to get into Goff's head. It could be that too. Yeah, I mean, you're going to face him twice a year. He is the starting quarterback for the team you're trying to supplant in the NFC North. You might be right, Bergs. He might be trying to get into the mental notions of Jared Goff. Kim, Ben Johnson wants credit for everything that went well, but someone else's fault what failed. He never took responsibility for failures, no integrity. That is a true statement that some people will take all the praises, but won't take any of the blame. JDC, hail Sheila Hemp been speaking publicly about anything Lions related. I haven't heard anything about her in a minute, so if she has spoken to the public, I haven't noticed it. Charles, I think both coordinators were distracted. AG had the defense that was so injured that he gets a pass. The offense didn't really have any injuries. This is true. Moodscar Blade, good morning all. Back at you. Central Scrutinizer, Ben Johnson, a good example of the power going his extra large head. Empty words from a troll. Might be true. Trump's NFL needs to change the rule where you cannot go after coaches until after the season. Yeah, I would like to say keep the hiring once the season's over for everybody. I mean, your team's done. I guess that's different. But if your team's still in play, I guess the hard part, though, is if everybody's got different timelines when they can be interviewed, some teams won't wait around and they'll hire people. And then, obviously the teams that are still in the playoffs, those coordinators are less than happy. Kim, AG has handled the transition more professionally. Ben Johnson is a scorned ex. The Lions just want to be done and move forward. Yeah, probably true. JDC, Trump's true that. Vincent E., good morning, Moodscar Blade. Leonard, morning, Coach Dan and the Duke Crew. Big difference between Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn's departures. You can only burn so many bridges, and then it catches up with you. Yeah, he's burned all the bridges, I'm saying at this point. Phil, 13 degrees here in Traverse City. It is 21, it says on the computer outside here today. Trumps, our team did a great job for all the distractions we had during the playoffs with Aaron Glenn and Johnson. Yeah, I'll go with that. Phil, Johnson was a Matt Patricia hire, means there's no chance there. All right. Byron, heck, they better not bring back Ben Johnson after this crying he's been doing. Yeah, I would say it'd be an odd move, but I guess one never knows. Kevin, if there's one thing we can be sure of with MCDC, it's that he keeps moving the train forward. I don't see a chance in heck that Benedict Johnson will be welcomed back in Detroit. No, I would say, I guess he never ruled out, but I would say, yeah, you're probably right, not leaning in that direction. JDC, I hear that the dude at the Tesla roaster in Orbits is watching Lions Talk Live. Could be. Let's hope he does. I hope he hits that like and subscribe button. Brian, if the Lions brought Ben back, I'd be a Bears fan. They better not be that dumb after the way he's acted. Okay, Leonard, Coach, more season tickets for us diehard Lions fans. I'm in line for 4 seats. Fingers crossed. Hey, I'll cross my fingers for you. Phil, Stephanie, as an investigator, what would you do to look into this? We'll find out. I go. No to Ben Johnson coming back. Stevie Wonder could do a better job coaching than Ben Johnson has done with this Lions team. Okay. Trump's Ben has what we call a motorcycle club world. We call it patch happy. Okay. Johnny L. Trump's genius. You got that one right. Phil, first thing Johnson did was disrespect the Green Bay coach. He loves childish head games. He coaches like a high school and acts like it. Okay. Kim, Lions hire leaders of men. That rules out Ben Johnson. Ooh, that's a good one. Johnny Mack, hey, good to see you, my friend. It's been a minute. I think MCDC is going to prove he's the real brains behind the offense. Either way, Ben is showing he had some growing up to do. Yeah, I agree with that. That's well said, Johnny. Lauren, Ben is our scapegoat for the Lions fans. Yeah, might be. Kevin, Kim, totally agree. He will fail in Chicago. Yeah, the evidence is leaning that way, I would say. Michael, Ben said he wants to go to the Bears last year, but brought back their coach. Yeah, they brought back their coach, and hey, good for them. They got him now. Phil, players make plays. Lions have players. Yes, they do. Hey, I've said a long time as a coach, man. X's and O's don't matter if the players don't have the skills. JDC, Trump's genius, and in the real world, he turned into a mutter blank. He probably always will be. I'll go with that. Sarge, talk about someone I haven't seen in a minute. Good to see you, Sarge. Greetings, salutations all. If true, Ben Johnson, really disappointing. Yeah, I'll go with that, Sarge. And again, good to see you, my friend. Steve, sounds like business to me. Conflict drives sales and profits in the NFL. Merch in Chicagoland. None of these guys are loyal to a city they were working for Roger. Yeah, I'll go with that. Yeah, it's all about the business. Rondo of North Carolina reminds me of Bill Filer when he had accepted the ASU job. Yeah, Frieder. Yeah, when he was with the U of M team, was heading into March Madness. Man, I forgot all about that, but you're right. Bill Frieder back in the day, man, that's what, late 80s, early 90s. He was the U of M basketball coach, but right before March Madness, he accepted a job somewhere else. Phil, the magic ring of changes fingers by itself. Yes, it does, my friend. Yes, it does. Brian, I want a hooker to have a chance to play. Trade him to someone for him draft a quarterback, have a rookie contract, also have Jake Fromm. Maybe they just want to go Jake Fromm because I actually thought, again, limited sample size, but he did a pretty good job last year. Trump's the only way I can think of himself tanking on purpose would be if it was gambling. Why would you work the whole season and throw it all away just because you're going to be a coach somewhere else? The only thing I can think of, Trump, is if there really was some sort of dynamic where he felt I should be getting more of the credit for everything that's going on. Maybe I should be the guy in Detroit. I don't know, man, just because that involves so many different doorways that you'd have to open up. But I'd like to, again, and I know I've said it before on the show, I have a hard time believing any coach would intentionally throw a game. Then again, I also know it does happen. So I've coached long enough to be able to say sometimes when it comes to like seeding purposes and playoffs, sometimes people tank games. They'd rather have this matchup than that matchup. I don't know, man. We'll see. JDC, like you said, Trump's they must change the no contact rule. Yeah, I would be okay with that. Richard and Bo fired him. Yes, and probably was the right thing to do, too. Lions Fanatic Bergtime, thanks for all you do. Coach Dan, best Lions content on YouTube. Thanks for that. Thank you for being part of the Duke crew, as always, my friend. Anymore, just thinking we could have a tailgate party at any time on any day. Just let me know. I'll try to get there. Yeah, even if we can't get everybody to a game, how about just meet up at I don't know, something outside Ford Field and then go watch the game at one of the local sports establishments. Brian, go blue, go green. I'm down with that. Vern, good morning, Coach and Duke crew. Ben Johnson knows our weaknesses on both sides of the ball. We must change a little. Come on, Brad. We need a miracle because we aren't promised a Super Bowl. No, you're never promised anything. But what can you do within the next play in front of you? Phil, Lions don't seem to mind changes for their fans' outrageous ticket prices. They are pricing fans away from the home games. Yeah, man, that pricing is getting crazy over there. Trump's Phil, maybe they're pricing the games so they don't have to deal with the idiots, kind of like a bar that charges $4 a beer. Okay. Shaft, everyone knew he was leaving after this season, after the season last season. Yeah, I'd say that's probably pretty spot on. Doughboy Steve, what up, Doe? What up to you too? Hopefully a great day there, Doughboy Steve. Phil, $4 for a beer at Ford Field. You know that for a fact, Trump? Man, $4, that's something. Let's see, Mr. Ed, good morning, Duke crew. Combine has been interesting. I'm seeing a lot of defensive talent. Hope Brad is too. Are you, Coach? Yes, I'd say there's a lot of people of interest for sure. I do think I'm going to stick with what I said in yesterday's show. I think the Lions are going to make some trades and basically try to get 3 impact players in the draft. I don't think they're – I could be wrong. Maybe they trade for some existing guys, but I'm thinking it's going to be on draft day. Trump, no, it's way more at Ford Field. Yeah, I want to say it's like $15 or $20. I don't drink beer, but I do think it is pricey there. Trump's, I was just trying to relate to it. A normal bar or corner bar will not sell a beer to bums at $4 a bottle. They're going to go to the cheap bar. Yeah, I'm down with that. Jerome, never seen him counsel golf when necessary. Yeah, and just it's weird on the sidelines. You know, again, I didn't pick up on it. I'll give credit to the Duke crew, but yeah, I don't think I've ever really seen those two in their time in Detroit talk together. Let's see, Bergtime Hunter. All right, Derek, Ben Johnson got handed an absolutely loaded offense and was creative. Oops, there goes the curtain. But anyways, absolutely loaded offense, was creative for 2.5 seasons, and now he's a guru. He very well could fall flat on his face as head coach with no experience at any level being head coach. Correct with that. Vernon, I bet a lot of people's lost money behind Ben Johnson tampering with the coaching staff. Could be true. Moonscar, Ted Nugent is playing at Luton and Paw Paw in August. If any of the Duke crew wants to meet up, show at Ludington, August 29th. Paw Paw is the 30th. All right. I have to check it out. That's probably what the winery there, St. Julian's. Dimitri, what up, though, Dan? Good morning, bro. Can I get a Woo! You want a woo? I'll give you a woo. How about a 1, 2, and a 3? And woo you go. Art just got up. What's going on with Ben Johnson now? Whew, man, he keeps running his mouth about the Lions defense, Goff, and all things in between Detroit Lions way. Dynamite, penalty 2 to 2 third-round picks. Yeah, let's go with that. King SJ, good morning, Coach and Duke Crew. Late to the show this morning. Hey, number 2, late to join. Moonscar Blade, those rings are much heavier than they look. Come on with a lot of extra weight that you don't see. No, that could be accurate. JDC Magic 8 Ball says, I think the honesty factor in today's world is going down significantly. Could be true. Jason and Brooklyn, let's go down, Duke Crew and one pride worldwide. I concur with all that. JC Moonscar Blade, I doth agree. David, Ben Johnson is garbage. It's looking more and more like he doesn't want to be a Lions fan, huh? Johnny L, absolutely JDC. Alan, Ben Johnson is scum. He would go 2-15 his first year and pumping gas in Chicago. Hey, you gotta do that sometimes. Hey, Dimitri, thank you for this, man. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you very much. Woo! What up, though, Detroit fam? What's up to you too? Hopefully, a phenomenal start to your day. JDC, go Lions. Corey, we lost, plain and simple. Can't believe people still using he thought through the game. Could be, man. Could be that we did. Could be that he was distracted. Could be 20 different things. Who knows? I'll let you guys come to your own opinions on it. Doughboy Steve, all hail Queen Sheila. Yes, she's done a phenomenal job here. Vernon, Caleb Williams told us when he was on the street, St. Brown's show, he knew up front. Yeah, it sounds like it was out there that Caleb Williams and other people, the Chicago Bears, were well aware that Ben Johnson was coming over. Brian, I heard TB12 and Gronk are coming to Detroit. Goff will play every second half. Super Bowl bound, just a good laugh. Everyone, have a great weekend. Same to you, Brian. Have a phenomenal weekend, my friend. JDC, I would stand knee to toe with Sheila and give her a hug. Yeah, probably a lot of Lions fans would. She's done a great job turning this thing around. All right, a couple more, then I'm out of here. Derek, why was Montgomery getting so many carries when Gibbs was already been killing Washington and couldn't stop him? The Lions didn't even need to throw the ball in the Washington game. I know, Derek, that's been brought up too. It was odd that Montgomery started the game. Whose decision that was? Was it MCDC's? Was it did Gibbs have a part in it? Was it all Ben Johnson? That I don't know. It'd be speculative on my part. All right, Corey, but he could do no wrong when he was here. It was always AG. Now all of a sudden Ben Johnson is the villain. That's how it goes. That's how it goes. Corey, Jake from isn't good. JDC, Corey. Let's see. It's all the way in the situation when down on the way he left. Yeah, it's all in the situation how he left. I'll go with that. Man Bear, due diligence is why Lions lost. Could be some truth to that. Yeah, 100%. Corey, no one knew he was leaving. He could have went to another team, but yes, he knew. Now people made mad. Makes no sense. I'll go with that. Bugs, bury the Bears. Well, let's hope we do. Bird time. Just give me a little notice since I live in New York, but I come 3 to 4 games a year. Let's enjoy it when you come over, man. What we can do? Happy Trails, New Crew, One Pride. Brian, let me ask, do you re-sign Hooker next year if not traded? That's a great question. We'll see what they choose to do. JDC, as far as Johnson as coach, he could have been better. He could have been worse. I believe he was somewhere in the middle. I'll go with that. That's a fair assessment. Corey, if I'm Hooker, I want out. He is wasting his career here. Okay, JDC, happy trails, go Lions victory. Central scrutinizer. Ben Johnson made his own bed, and he's just trying to get into Campbell's head. Silly rabbit tricks are for kids. Woo! Yeah, it could be a lot of truth to both of those claims. Phil, have a great day. Stay warm. Stay warm indeed. Burger time. Happy trails to y'all. See y'all tomorrow. Go Lions. One pride. Chad, let's off Goff and get us a young mobile quarterback. Let's Ben Johnson have Goff. I don't think Ben Johnson wants Goff, at least if you take him at his word. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here, end the show. If there is some sort of breaking news later today, I'll get it over to you as quick as possible. Otherwise, if you would be so kind before checking out, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit all the buttons. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. Do something kind for someone you don't know. Be a good human being. And we'll see you all in the next Lions Talk Live. Take care, all.
Excuse me, sir, would you... Donations to Reverend Moon? Jews for Jesus? Read about Jehovah's Witness? How about Buddhism? How Jerry's kids? Oh, yeah. Scientology? Or nuclear power?